Hello, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today to hear about our top 5 reasons to study abroad in Thailand. My name is Crystal, and I'm a program manager for Asia at TEAN. And my role is once students are enrolled in a study abroad program, I'm here to help with the application steps and then everything from housing to visa, course registration, booking a flight, what to pack, talking to parents if they're nervous about you leaving, really all of those things, essentially everything up to stepping on that plane is what I'm here for, to help students with. And I actually lived in Thailand for 2 years teaching English and completely fell in love with the country. So I'm always super excited to talk about Thailand, honestly, whenever I can get the chance. And today we actually have with us also an alumni who participated in the fall 2021 Thailand program. So Emma's going to give us a little inside look onto all the amazing things that she experienced just a few months ago in Thailand. Emma?
Yes, thanks, Crystal. Hello, everybody. My name is Emma, and I'm a junior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'm studying marketing and international business there. And yeah, I went to Thailand this past fall. While I was there, I took some international business courses, a marketing course, and a Thai culture course. So they were all super interesting. And yeah, I'm excited to share with you all my experiences. And these top 5 are just some of the reasons why I fell in love with Thailand. So moving on to reason number 5 is panoramic views. So Thailand has some of the most amazing and breathtaking views wherever you are. They have everything from mountains to beaches and islands and waterfalls and anything, they have it. So they're known for their beautiful beaches and they have super blue water. And so one of my favorite views was the PP Islands, and we actually took a boat as a group there. And we were able to just explore the islands. It was absolutely breathtaking. It was like crystal blue water. I've never seen anything like it. It was just unreal. And then also Krabi and Phuket also have the most amazing beaches. It was so fun there, and we also went there as a group too. And then when you go to northern Thailand, they have lots of mountains. And so in Chiang Mai, where we lived for about 3 months, we went to this waterfall called Sticky Waterfalls. And the rocks have this algae on them. And you can literally climb up the waterfall, like straight up the waterfall because it's so sticky. And so that was super fun to do with everybody. If you go even more north, there's this place called Pai, and everybody loves Pai. It's this little mountain town, kind of hippie town. And they have amazing mountain views, and they have this place called the Pai Canyon, which we hiked, and we also did this hike through this jungle up to a waterfall. It was just amazing. And then also, of course, Bangkok has amazing views of the city. If you go up to like a sky bar or any tall skyscraper, the view is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, Chris, I don't know if you have any of your favorite views to share.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a tough question to pick, but I loved Riley Beach, and that's right next to with like the PP Islands. The picture of my background actually is from there as well. So yeah, the beaches in the south are incredible. Krabi that you mentioned, that was my favorite. I went there for my birthday one year. And then my birthday's in November, and literally a month later, I went back for Christmas because I just love that area so much. And just all of the like the limestone rocks and everything, I think are so cool and just really beautiful. So that was definitely one of my favorite areas is in Krabi
Mhm.
as well that you mentioned earlier. And then I love that you talked about Pai too, because that's definitely a super cool town for northern Thailand. So it's so cool how different the landscaping really is from the north to the south. So you get everything from mountains and it's drier in the north to then like, beaches and tropical settings in the south. Um, Cool. So we'll go on to number 4 we have is kicking it with the elephants. And unfortunately, when I was there, I didn't take the opportunity to visit one of these uh, parks. But I know that Emma, you did. So if you want to just, tell us a little bit about the excursion that you had with the Ethical Elephant Nature Park.
Yes. Yeah, so as a group, we went to an elephant nature park where they actually rescue elephants that are in danger and take care of them and give them the medical attention that they need. And so we got to learn all about the elephants and hang around them all day. I think it was probably one of my favorite days because we got to feed them sugar cane, which they love, and just like see how they took care of them and just got to watch them roam around. So it was a very ethical place. And yeah, and also at the nature park, they also had rescued hundreds of cats and dogs there. So we got to hang out with those animals as well. So yeah, it was a very fun day, just watching the elephants and feeding them and hanging out with them.
And
Um,
that's cool. I know one of the big things in Thailand, because they do have a lot of those parks around, is or and places where you can ride the elephants. So yeah, if you want to just, you didn't do that, right?
um,
At that park.
no, no, riding elephants is a big no-no. That's very unethical and definitely try to stay away from those places.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's important to do, if you don't do the teen excursion, because we make sure to that is an ethical place that we select, that you do a lot of research on them. But cool that they had, what was it, cats and
Cats
dogs?
and dogs, yeah,
Huh, fun.
we had lots of them. Um, But yeah, so moving on to slide number 3, temple time. So Thailand is filled with some amazing and beautiful temples wherever you go. One of my favorite temples was in Chiang Mai, and it was called Doi Sutep, and it's on top of a mountain. And so as a group, we woke up at 4 a.m. and hopped in some red trucks, and it drove us all the way to the top of this mountain. And so we made it there by sunrise. And the temple overlooks all the clouds. And so we were just on top of the world. It was so beautiful. The temple was amazing. I think we have a picture of us in front of the stairs right there. Yeah, as a group. But yeah, I loved exploring temples, and on any day off that I have, I would just like walk around the city, see what temples I could find and go into them and experience them. Um, but yeah, Crystal, do you have any favorite temples in Thailand?
Yeah, I actually lived in Ayutthaya, which is about an hour and a half north of Bangkok. And it was an old capital. So it was the capital of Thailand once, like hundreds of years ago or so. And so there's a lot of ancient ruins there, and then a lot of temples as well. And the class that I taught in, actually, one of them, there was a like an ancient room right outside of the classroom. So it was kind of like a surreal thing when I was like at work, but looking out at these like ancient temples and ruins. So it was a really cool experience to be living in Ayutthaya. And it was such a easy train ride from Bangkok. So if you're, at the university in Bangkok, it's literally like an hour and a half train ride and less than $2 to get there. That's one of my favorite things about Thailand. It didn't make it on the top 5 list, but is the transportation. I think that's a weird thing to have as like a top 5 reason, but that's what I loved about Thailand, was that the just accessibility to get from one city to the next, and how cheap it was. So to take a train for $2 to Ayutthaya, and you could take the train all the way to Chiang Mai as well from Bangkok. It takes like 12 hours or something to do that. So it's a little bit longer, but then flights also are like incredibly cheap. And my mind was blown when I first got there, because taking a flight, just from Minneapolis to Chicago can cost you like $300 sometimes. But in Thailand, I had flights for like $20 sometimes. So it's really inexpensive to get around. And that's what, yeah, I loved kind of going to some different cities too, that I would just like look at the train route and then, find a city, look up top 5 things to do there. And if they had some cool temples, I was sold and I was off on the train. Um, yeah, so hopefully that's, I don't know, did you go to Ayutthaya,
We
Emma?
did not know, but
Oh,
we went up to Chiang Rai, which is also,
mm.
there's a picture of there of me in front of that big goddess. And Chiang Rai had some amazing temples. They had the famous white temple, they had the famous blue temple, and then that big goddess. And so that was a fun day trip that we took.
Yes, Chiang Mai, I almost forgot about that. That's probably on my top list too of my favorite temples. The White Temple is so, so cool. And it's so different. And like the different art that's there is really, really unique and super easy to get there. Yeah, from Chiang Mai over to Chiang Mai. I'm glad you mentioned that. That was one of my favorites too. All right, so moving on to number two, almost the top of the list, I would say, is food. Thailand has the most incredible food, and I miss it still every day. Pad Thai is just not the same in the US after you've had it in Thailand. And I was actually surprised. I didn't think Pad Thai was going to be my favorite thing because I've had it before. I thought it was kind of, would be similar to the US, but there's definitely something about it in Thailand that makes it so much better. And my favorite pad thai was actually from a motorbike food vendor outside of my apartment. And it was literally a motorbike that she had made into her, big walk was on there, and then the food supplies that she had. And it was right outside my apartment. So on Mondays, I was usually really tired kind of from the weekend. And it was the easiest thing to just grab. And again, it was 40 baht, I think, which is a little over $1 or so for a delicious, huge meal of pad thai. So that was, by far the first thing that sticks out. And I've tried to have pad thai back in the US, and I'm like, oh, it's just not the same. And I miss that lady every day or every Monday, I should say. And the street food, and I think the overall culture of food being just more accessible and more inexpensive outside, like street vendors, markets, everything is just, it's really more accessible and more common to be eating out. Whereas actually in Thailand, like ovens are not a thing. And I was kind of surprised at that too when I got into my apartment and there was like nothing to cook on there. I did buy like a little hot plate so I could make some things, but that's pretty common for apartments just to not have any cooking because it's so accessible outside. So yeah, Emma, do you want to tell us about some of your favorite, maybe like street markets that you went to?
Yeah, so in Chiang Mai, they had my favorite street food market. It was a night market, and so we would go there just about every day because it was so affordable and cheap, and we were able to just try just about everything that we wanted to, just like a little bit of everything. It was a great way to just try new foods. And one of my favorite foods in northern Thailand was khao soy, which is a famous northern Thailand dish. So they didn't have it down south. But it's kind of like a curry coconutty soup with these crispy noodles on top with chicken in it. It was so delicious. And also the pad thai was amazing everywhere. Definitely cannot find that back in the US. Since coming back, I've tried to find a good Thai restaurant in Lincoln where I live, but nothing can compare to the food in Thailand. And so it's been really hard to eat the food here because it was so delicious in Thailand. Um, Another favorite was roti, and they had roti stands everywhere. And it's kind of like a crepe, and they put Nutella on it, and egg or cheese, and just about anything that you wanted to. And so I think we got that every single night because it was so delicious. And there was one right outside of our hotel. So that was another favorite. And also basil chicken and rice was another really good dish that I loved eating. So yeah, there was some amazing food and I definitely miss it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've struggled to be, and I've been back for a couple years, and I still hesitant ordering pad thai in like a Thai restaurant, and I either go for if I see khao soy somewhere, I definitely like get that at a Thai restaurant because that's always a really good go to. And I've like searched out just Asian markets in general for like in the US, like grocery stores, to find like canned curries from Thailand and like different things to try to still get those flavors because it's just never spicy enough too. And that's what like is so fun too. I think about Thailand food is just the spice level and the different flavors that are there.
Yes, I have grown to love spicy food. I put hot sauce on everything now that I'm back home because I just love spicy food now. But yes, the curries are amazing. Green curry was another
Mm.
super good one that I absolutely loved, and I'm trying to find a good one here, so we'll see if I find one. But yeah, so moving on to number 1 is off the beaten path. So I did not want to study abroad somewhere where everybody else goes. I feel like everyone in my college goes to Europe or places over there, but I wanted to experience something totally new, totally different. I'm a very adventurous person, and I love the outdoors and exploring many types of places. And so I thought Thailand would be the perfect fit for me because they have everything from mountains to beaches, big city, just about everything. And so I was like, oh, it's perfect. They have literally so many places to explore. But yeah, at first I didn't know what to expect because I had never known anyone who had ever been there, and everyone thought that I was crazy for picking Thailand because it was kind of random, because no one from my university had ever gone there. And I wanted to go alone with no one from back home. So everyone was like, "You're crazy for doing that." But I can't imagine going anywhere else, and I don't think I would have gotten to do half the things I was able to experience in Thailand if I went to a country in Europe or a different country. Um, yeah, Crystal, do you have any stories about going off the beaten path?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really picked Thailand too because it was kind of so centrally located in Southeast Asia, and um, it was so accessible to go to Vietnam and to Cambodia, and to a lot of different other countries around the area as well, with accessibility being so easy. I know, Emma, I'm sorry I brought that up because you didn't get to experience that with COVID recently. And but I actually think that was almost better because then you had the opportunity just to really explore Thailand so much more. And again, I mentioned this earlier about the trains. Like, I didn't realize how much I love trains until I was living in Thailand and getting on a train and going to various areas, especially like in the north, from Bangkok was really easy to do, even going a little bit south. And a lot of times I noticed once you're outside of Bangkok, especially on the train, I would have been, I was the only American there, and everybody around me is speaking Thai, and I have no idea what's going on. And at one point too, I was with my friend, and the train stopped, like, and it was at night, so it was dark out, and people got off, was looking around, flashlights. We had to this day, I still have no idea what happened. Because again, like where we were going to, it wasn't the most touristy of places. And actually when we were there, we were still the only tourists there. But we could hear them talking about us on the radio, because they used the word foreigner in Thai, for long. Well, it's been a while. I can barely remember it, but we heard them say that. And then, so we knew that they were taking care of us. They wanted to make sure we were all right. But yeah, no idea. The train eventually got back going and we made it to our destination, maybe only like 30, 40 minutes late or something like that. But it was just kind of one of those moments of like, we don't really know where we are. But it worked out. So I think kind of one of the things, yeah, too, with Thailand is that you have to be like, okay with not maybe knowing what's going on, and have that, really sense of adventure and, trying new things. Um, but yeah, so my favorite thing is the train. I keep talking about it. But yeah, Emma, maybe if you could, tell us a little bit about, what it was like maybe with the language of like being in Thailand without knowing the language.
Yeah, so ever since COVID, they haven't really had a lot of foreigners, and so we were really kind of the first group to get
Yeah.
there, once they started opening up. But everybody pretty much knew at least a little bit of English, and so it was easy to talk to them in English. And um, yeah, and we also learned a little bit of Thai. One weekend, we spent 2 days at a Thai language class,
Oh,
and we learned like directions, how to bargain at markets, just how to get around, really the basics that we needed. And of course, Google Translate was always needed wherever we went. That was also super easy to use. But yeah, everyone, I was surprised. I didn't realize how many people spoke English, or at least like a little bit of it.
yeah, that's awesome. I think too is that I felt like Thailand, is known as the land of smiles.
Mhm.
And I really felt that a lot when I was there, that a lot of local people love, people from other countries. And they're like excited. And if they speak English, they want to practice English. But if they don't know the language, they're still super friendly and will like find somebody who does. Which is really nice. And then, because they really do take pride in their country and are excited to see people from other countries there. And I was just thinking about with the language, one of because Thailand's like a tonal language, so it really like it can change the meaning of a word so quickly. And I was very hesitant to speak Thai at school. And when I built up a little bit more confident, I tried to tell a teacher that her skirt was beautiful. And I'm already going to be saying this wrong, but like, so for the word beautiful is like soy, but then there's like soy and then soy. And like one of them means like street, and then one means beautiful, and one means bad luck. So she looked at me really bizarre, and I walked away, and I'm like, pretty sure I told her skirt was bad luck. And so that was something that made me like nervous about the language a little bit. Do you have any fun stories of like when you tried to speak Thai and maybe it was the wrong thing?
Yeah, so yeah, the tones are definitely difficult, and it's just a really hard language to learn. I don't think I ever said anything wrong, or if I did, they just smiled and laughed and were like, "What?" Yeah, everyone is super friendly and definitely the land of smiles. Everyone's super helpful, and if they don't understand you, they'll either get someone like you said, or pull up Google Translate, or honestly, pointing is the best way. If you're at a restaurant and you don't know how to order, just point to it and they'll know what you want.
Yeah, that's true. And like using charades, I feel like I became a master at charades when I was there. I'm like, driving and like airport, like where's the airport? And like different things like that. So it's interesting to see how you could still like communicate without speaking the same language. And yeah, it works out. Yeah. So, oh, Emma, this is a good slide. This actually says, I believe, goodbye. Do you know how to say this in Thai?
I don't remember how to say goodbye, but I know how to say hello.
Sure. Let's hear your best
Okay.
hello and thank
Okay.
you.
Sawadee ka, kapkun ka.
Nice. Very nice. Awesome. Yeah, those are always the go-tos, when traveling to any country is learn how to say hello and thank you. And it'll take you a long way. People will be really appreciative of that. Another thing, Emma, I was just wondering, have you, since that experience in Thailand, how has that maybe like shaped your outlook towards like travel in the future? Do you have like other plans for traveling that maybe changed after you got back from Thailand?
Yeah, so I definitely got the travel bug, and now I just wanna explore the whole world. But I actually met my best friend Carson, she was in the program with me, and now we have plans to go teach English in another country. I know we really wanna go to Vietnam since we weren't able to explore Vietnam while we were in Thailand, or we would love to go back to Thailand or just about anywhere in Southeast Asia. So definitely this experience has led me to figure out what I wanna do in the future after I graduate. And it definitely opened my eyes to how much there is in the world and how much there is to see and explore. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, living in Thailand totally changed my outlook and my career as well. As soon as I decided to move back to the US, I knew that I wanted to be in study abroad. And I actually didn't get the opportunity to study abroad when I was in college. And while I was in Thailand, a lot of tours that I went on, I stayed at hostels a lot of times when I was there. So I met a lot of students from maybe Europe or different countries that were doing like a gap year. And I was always kind of a little sad that I didn't see a lot of Americans like on these trips. And so when I came back, I knew that I wanted to encourage more Americans really to especially go to places like Thailand that are a little, maybe not the first thing that you think of for studying abroad, because it's such a life-changing experience. And when I got back, again, I just focused on finding a job and studying abroad. And now I get to talk about Thailand all the time. And my coworkers have the same experiences too. So it's really fun amongst our coworkers, where we can say, oh, when I lived in Thailand, this and that, and it doesn't sound like, we're bragging or anything. So we have that kind of same mentality about travel and just like how important it is. And it just really changes um, so many things with like your patience level. I know I learned a lot of patience when I was in Thailand with just like the different modes of transportation and trains getting canceled and no reason why, and then having to wait for another one, or minivans. I took a lot of minivans too, and just like different things that you don't experience on your day to day in the US. um, cool. So, yeah, Emma, this has been super fun talking about Thailand and kind of bringing back some memories of when I lived there. And if you'd like to, connect with an alumni just like Emma, we'll put a link in the chat so that you can kind of connect, and we'll get you paired up. And it might not be, with Emma, but if it's another program that you're interested in as well, we have students on all of our programs that can connect to give you that like real what it was actually like as a student there. And I think we're dropping into information about just in general the email address for TEAN, so you can reach out with general information and any questions that you might have. So yeah, I think that's it for today. So thanks for joining us and letting us go on and on about Thailand for a little bit. And we look forward to hopefully getting you on a program just like Emma did.
Yes, thank you all for joining. I had lots of fun talking about Thailand.
Have a good day. Bye.